Hello friends, what do we know about cheetahs? Probably many will say that it is a predatory mammal of the feline family that inhabits most of Africa and the Middle East. Adding that it is the fastest of all land mammals that in 3 seconds can develop a speed of 110 kilometers per hour, and looking at it, you clearly realize that nature created this animal as a skilled and fast predator. But these are data from Wikipedia. And what in fact do these graceful huge cats represent? Recently, one zoo showed the world. For many, these videos and photos were a real shock. But when their story became known, people were surprised and fascinated by everything that was happening. Recently, in one of the zoos in the USA, small puppies were taken to a cage with cheetahs and left there to live. Probably the worst could be expected, but the thing is that this strategy was specially thought up by the organizers of the zoo, and all in order for the big cats to not be so lonely. Probably few know, but cheetahs are free-loving and social animals. And I think it's not hard to guess that in captivity, they often experience stress due to limited space, and most importantly, loneliness. In addition, these big cats often have panic attacks. They roam in cages, cannot find a place, and as a result, need support. And that's exactly why puppies are familiarized with cheetahs. Not just familiarized, but as it turns out, dogs have a striking ability to find common ground with these predators. Of course, if you try to approach an adult cat with a puppy, nothing will come of it. It will simply see it as lunch. But a small cheetah puppy is happy to go for contact. They start to play and communicate. From a nervous little predator, a calm and affectionate animal can grow. But it's not just about cheetahs. This method has been successfully applied to other animals, for example, lions and bears. And the zoo staff is sure that this is the best way to help animals feel better in captivity. Exactly such a story happened with the cub of a cheetah that was born on May 12, 2015 in the Richmond Zoo. Unlike his brothers and sisters, he was born very weak. So weak that he did not even have the strength to fight for food with other cubs, and they did not bully him. But he was losing weight and becoming weaker every day. And most likely, this handsome guy would simply not have survived, but the zookeepers decided to take a chance. They understood that his life was hanging by a thread, so they took him away from his mother, organizing artificial feeding. Over time, the weak cub gained strength and was able to eat on his own. Later, they returned the cub to the cage with his mother and other cubs, but by that time, his relatives had already forgotten about him. Unfortunately, this happens not only with representatives of this species. The cube had to struggle again. His own family did not accept him, and despite the fact that he was already, the caretakers could no longer watch this heart-rending scene and came to help again. They decided that since his own family does not accept him, he needs to find a new true friend. And that's what happened, but later on, it turned out that finding a friend for this guy was a very difficult task. It was necessary to take into account many criteria such as age, height, and a dozen other moments. But still, such a poor fellow as the dog himself found himself. Just like a year ago, a teenager was saved from being put to sleep in one of the shelters. Despite his young age, the poor fellow had already gone through all the hardships and misfortunes of this life. He was kept in a pet home where the conditions were terrible and the dogs had no bright future. But the animal welfare activists discovered this place, distributed the pets to new shelters, and began looking for new loving owners for them. Exactly in this way, the zookeepers found a playful puppy that was the perfect fit for the role of a friend for the poor fellow and was of the same age. But at that time, no one knew for sure if they would get along, find a common approach, or if anything would come out of this, as often new neighbors do not get along. Their first meeting was very exciting. When the poor fellow and the puppy first saw each other, they were very indecisive. Each with fear and some distrust looked at each other, but soon a real miracle happened. The poor fellow slowly approached the puppy, sniffed him, and after a moment showed that he liked him. He started to crouch and attack the little cheetah, who in turn could not understand what was happening and who was dragging him by the tail. It was strange for the little cheetah to see a big, healthy guy in front of him, but soon he began to show interest in him as well. Eventually, all this friendship with time companion simply refused to leave his new friend, and they even had to settle together in a cage. With each passing day, their brotherly bond became stronger and stronger. They spent entire days playing and inventing new games. For example, visitors to the zoo were amazed by their hide-and-seek and chase games. This pair of ducks frolic together without noticing that they are growing very quickly. It is also amazing that even though they are in the zoo, their wild nature is not disturbed. They do not pay attention to people and spend their days playing outside. They don't even care about getting wet. They just sleep together. Cuddling has become something ordinary. Now, they always have their birthdays on the same day and even give each other gifts together. Brotherly. After a few years spent together, these friends have developed something much more than just friendship. They feel like they are each other's continuation and always happily interact with other zoo inhabitants and, of course, with people. Watching these happy friends is pure pleasure, and they have become an unofficial calling card of this place. Recently, another serious pair of guys who also don't put their finger in their mouth moved into the neighboring cage. Oh, these friends are penguins. At first, they all watched each other with caution, but when the keepers allowed Kumba and the other to visit their new neighbors, the incredible happened. The penguins initially pecked at their visitors, but soon even started to play with them. Everyone does it in their own way, and it's so much fun to watch them. While they still don't know that soon, this mini pig that gives them no peace will become a huge 100-kilogram animal, and then it will be even more interesting to watch their game. Since the first meeting of these animals of different temperaments, enough time has passed, but the cheetah and the dog still live in the same cage and enjoy every new day. They do everything together, entertaining visitors with their playful chases and my embraces and tender relations. And this story once again proves to all of us that even animals that are outwardly and in their way of life different from each other can perfectly coexist and create incredible strong friendships, which cannot be said about us humans. And perhaps we still have something to learn from them. Friends, leave your comments. Did you like this unusual pair? And do you believe in true friendship?